Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Hello and welcome to Run It Back. What a fabulous Wednesday. What's going on? Why?
Something's in my eye.
Yeah. Great start. Guys, Lou,
Ouch.
Chandler, Michelle, we've got a lot of hoops to talk about. Sorry, Knicks fans. Let's get to the game, shall we? Pacer thing. You know what? John Haliburton in the house, and that could only mean one thing. Tyrese Haliburton would have himself an evening. Best playoff game of his career, I have to say. Multiple game winners. He's out already in the postseason, and this one still stands out. We'll get to the superstar combo, but 32, 12, 15 assists, 0 turnovers. First player ever with 30, 10, 15, and the 0 turnovers. That is amazing to me. Let's go. Lou, I'll start with you. And by the way, just to give you some behind the scenes here, this superstar conversation is going to take up a lot of our time and brain space for the next probably 7 days. But we start with Tyrese Haliburton. Is he now considered a superstar?
I think he's a budding superstar.
Okay.
Along with a lot of our young all-stars in the league. Superstar is a different status. That is a perennial thing. That comes with impact. That comes with influence. You know, once the Pacers go on the road and they're selling out other arenas and you see in Haliburton jerseys and you start to see that impact league-wide, that's what puts you in a superstar conversation. You know, in our business, you probably have 4 or 5 superstars at a time, and that's kind of being that's being nice. That's being, you know, a little greedy when you think about it. And then you start talking about guys that are legacy acts. Your LeBrons, your Steph Curry.
Wait, so do they count in the 4 or 5 superstars? Or
They do because they're grandfathered in. But then again, but you have budding superstars. You know, you got your SGAs, you got your Jaylen Browns, your Jason Tatums, your Lukas. Tyrese is in that conversation with those guys. You know, and when you're starting to get from point A to point B in your career, that's when those things begin to, but solidified today, no, it's a lot of work to be done when you're trying to reach that status. That is the pinnacle status. And I think that's somewhere that he's still fighting to get to.
Yeah, I think there's levels. There's levels.
Sure,
right? I think there's stars, there's superstars, and then there's mega stars. Like Steph Curry.
Whoa, we're adding mega to this?
If Steph Curry is a superstar, Tyrese Haliburton can't be, because they're not on the same level, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Of fame and global recognition and impact of the game and everything that comes with the superstar. It's a fun argument. It's silly, but he's really good. I think we should just embrace what he's doing on this small market team.
No, we need to label it.
And games like last night are unbelievable. Like he was perfect last night. Like, he was one of the best playoff, you know, games I've ever seen. But when you talk about a superstar level, like Lou said, there's guys that are grandfathered in. The James Hardens, Kevin Durant's. Westbrook is a superstar still because of what he did in his resume. Now we're talking about, I think we throw the word around too much. Even Jalen Brunson, he's more of a superstar than Tyrese Haliburton, but there is levels.
Hold on, still today.
I think that comes with being a Knick. I think it's the market of New York City. I think that fame and recognition and notoriety that he gets just simply playing in a bigger market helps his case of being a superstar. But I do have some names here because now I want to
Are we doing this?
I want to ask. Because again, it varies too. It changes,
you know
it changes year to year.
We also can get blinded by the moment as well. Like these guys are having great runs, but this is a guy we were just talking about 2 weeks ago as being overrated.
Well, we didn't say that.
Of course, but you know, we're projected. But it goes from overrated to superstar status in 2 weeks, being up 3-1 on the Knicks. These teams everybody has a lot of work to be done still. You know, the 4 teams that are left in these playoffs all have a budding superstar on that team.
Okay.
Nobody has done anything yet.
I like that.
Nobody has accomplished anything yet. At the end of the day, it's a 3-1 lead over here, 3-1 lead over there. Nobody has put hardware on. Until some of these things start to come to fruition, until some of those things are solidified and you can add them to your resume, you can add them to your status, then we start upgrading. Until then, these guys are budding superstars.
They're
BS. And what's interesting is that both the teams that are down 3-1 have the more superstar status guy, Brunson over Haliburton. I think Anthony Edwards is viewed for some reason more of a superstar than SGA, even though he just won MVP and he's the best player on the best team. He's
got a lot more exposure.
It's exactly. It's the exposure. It's the recognition of him. It's the commercials, the ads. It's I don't even know if that was a word, but it's that all goes with it when you get labeled a superstar.
If let's just say the SGA Tyrese thing, because unless something crazy happens, perhaps that's our finals. One of them's going to win. One of them's going to be a champion. Does that make you a superstar? Like, when do you become one? Do we just know?
Again, when you start, you just know.
We just feel it.
You just know, you just feel it. And some of these guys get recognition, commercials, and the visibility based on projection. When people project you to be something, when you're on your way to being, not necessarily.
Ant's got that a lot.
Yeah, not necessarily when you've reached it already. You can see some, like even popular rookies that come in sometimes. They're on commercials and everything because it's a projection. We think that's what your status is going to be in years to come. And so it's okay for these guys to have work to do to get there. But again, if we're saying, you just made the distinction between Holly and Steph Curry. So if those guys are the marker, it's still levels to it. It's still another level for these guys to get to. And by the way, that's not a problem. If these guys have accomplished everything and they have superstar status so early in their careers without any real accolades, minus SGA and his MVP, but without real accolades, without real championships, and all of these things stacking on top of each other year after year, that's okay. They're still working. That's not a problem for me right now at this present moment.
And again, like Lou just hit on the head. There's just levels, there's tiers, and again, there's megastars like the Giannis's, the Stephs, the LeBrons, KD's, Kobe's. Those are no doubters. Private security, like everywhere they go, like
double A list.
Change the vibe in a whole room everywhere they go. That is a superstar. You can't go anywhere without getting recognized. You are all over the news, the ads, billboards, things like that. Then there's guys like Tyrese Haliburton that are very good. They're budding stars. Like Donovan Mitchell. Is Donovan Mitchell a superstar? Like
budding. Like he's right there. And then you have some guys that are right there on the fringe of either going this way or that way, depending on their next couple of seasons.
Yeah, I don't know if Jason Tatum is considered a superstar. Like he's really good, and I think he's closer than a Haliburton or Donovan Mitchell. But again, like there's just levels to this fame, and I don't think those guys are quite there yet of these other guys that we've named. Like Jimmy Butler, is he a superstar? Is Jimmy Butler a superstar?
I'll go back to that. But I'll rip a Band-Aid off of this.
Okay.
There's no way these guys are solidified, and this is no diss to Tyrese or JT at all. But solidified superstars, it's no debate whether they should play or not on Team USA. Can we agree there?
So that would be a way to look at it.
That would be
Holiday and
for sake of this argument.
They're not superstars.
Yeah, for sake of this argument, like. Those are guys that are budding to be superstars.
Like we don't even think about.
Are they the next crop of all-stars? Are they the next crop of superstars in our league? Absolutely. But right now they're still building.
Yeah.
They're still building.
The Tatum, Donovan Mitchell ones.
Like is Devin Booker a superstar?
No, all these guys can build, and some of these guys can flame out.
Who are the superstars? Because you said 4 or 5. Like that's not very many.
There's Giannis, there's LeBron, there's Jokic, there's Luka, there's SGA, Ant, Steph.
But that's what so SGA, Ant, those
SGA's
are
probably the least
those are
superstar of the names I just named.
Everybody that he said, he just ran off about 6 or 7 guys. I would take out SGA and I would take out Ant-Man. That would round out 4 or 5 guys to me because they're budding.
So Wemby, not there yet.
Budding superstar.
But we assume he will be.
Of course.
It's funny, like Wemby not quite, but James
all
Harden's still a superstar because of what he's done.
SGA, Ant-Man, Wemby, those class of guys, I think they are the next class of superstars.
Can you lose, like the James Harden thing, can you lose your status as a superstar?
I think you can lose it a little bit, like you can lose it, but like everyone in the world that they still know James Harden. I mean, he still goes anywhere in the world, any country, and he's getting recognized as a mega NBA star.
Is that how we're defining it, though? Because then if we're starting to do that, that opens up a different conversation.
Superstar status, to me, is on and off the court, is on and off the field, in every...
like Westbrook averaged 8 points this year, 7 points. He's a superstar.
Is he a superstar?
He has to be from what
front
he's
row
done
everywhere
in his
he
life.
goes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Because now this area is getting grayer and grayer and grayer. Because if you can lose your superstar status, and I love Russell Westbrook, but do we still call him a superstar in the
I think at one point Paul George was a superstar. Now he's not.
Is Anthony Davis a superstar?
He's oof, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I think he is.
Well, then we have way more than 4 or 5 superstars.
But again, how you can lose your superstar status, if you get old. That's one way. That's one way for somebody to say you can get old, but you can continue. You can have 4 or 5 great years and have superstar years, and then you can be washed after that. You can, and so it's 2 different ways to lose your superstar status. But again, if you're older And that's the way of you losing it. You're still going to be considered a superstar when you move around.
But yeah, like there's still guys like Tim Duncan and Dirk that they are superstars.
Forever.
No matter what they do, Tim Duncan,
what
you can
they
hide,
do.
you can run, but
No
you
matter
can't
what
hide.
they
He's
do.
a superstar. It doesn't matter.
Shaquille O'Neal, superstar.
Nothing can change that.
Nothing can change
Yeah.
that.
But if you were fringy in the begin with, then you can.
Nothing can. That's what I'm saying. Nothing
Okay.
can change your superstar status once you reach it. Now, can you be a superstar as far as popularity go?
Sure.
Can you lose it as far as popularity? Sure.
See, that's like a
but
good
you don't
one.
lose. I don't think you lose your status.
Like Zion has the popularity of a superstar, but he's not producing like a superstar like that.
No,
So
because
that
I don't think anybody would say he's a superstar currently.
he is it, but he is.
So back to Holly.
He can't.
It's-
He's a superstar.
No, he's not. But I'm saying he's
Superstar.
another good one where it's interesting because he
Back
is
to Holly.
famous.
Superstar status or not?
Yeah, like
right
the original
now today.
question.
No.
No. And
Agreed.
he's budding.
Agreed. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's on his way.
Yeah, that's not hating. That's not.
He's on his way.
He is a really, really good basketball player. He's probably the best, purest point guard, just as far as like pure, get your offense set, run a team. But superstar, I think there's levels, and I just don't think he's there yet.
Now,
Win a
what if-
championship, maybe it helps.
I was
but,
gonna say, so
again, I just
that's-
think he's 26 years old. Like he's building.
I do like this, though. We have two budding superstars in this particular series. What happens when one budding superstar mocks the other budding superstar's celebration
Then we talk about
after
it.
hitting a three? Because I don't know how y'all feel about this moment, but I think it's pretty,
I love it.
It's pretty
I love
funny.
I love Holly's his petty. Like he did this with Dame. He did this with
Really
Tyrese. I wish I had one more to round out three, but you know he just has
He'll get
these.
another
He
one.
did the choke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, did the choke thing, and listen, he finds his guys that he wants to mock and have some fun inside of a game.
But the man's on the floor, and he
I-
did it right over.
I mean,
I respect that more than
Yeah.
anything. Don't do it behind my back. Do it to my face.
And by
I
the way,
respect that more than
it's-
anything.
He's an entertainer. Like he this is fun. This is great. And I love the Dame thing. And again, there's a level of respect and a balance you have to have. But now let's just play all basketball. And he is dominating the series. They are up 3-1. And again, he did the choke thing in game 1 of this series.
did.
So nothing has
And it was
changed.
only a 2. Who knew?
Yeah, nothing has changed with him, and this is just who he is. And I think this is why the overrated stuff and the players' kind of jealousy and hate on him happen, because he does bust your ass and he tells you about it, which is, again, no problem on
But
it.
I think that's what you're supposed to do.
I think it's great. He has that fire in him, and I think it's unbelievable. And I think he is taking his game to a whole nother level right before our eyes.
Can we talk a little PASCAL SIAKAM? He's been very, very incredible in this one as well. Second 30-point game of the series. He's now, as a Pacer, been to 2 Eastern Conference Finals. We talk second options. We love lists, all that stuff. I feel like we've never mentioned PASCAL SIAKAM as a perfect second option. Why not?
Yeah, well, we should, because he was that in Toronto when they won a championship, and now he's this on the way to possibly another championship. And they have no answer for him in the mid-post. He gets to his spots. And OG, great defender. Mikal Bridges, great defender. Cat, much bigger, stronger. Just look how he uses his body. He stops on a dime. He's athletic. He gets out in transition. He picks his spots. He's efficient. He truly has just flown under the radar. If Tyrese Haliburton is the most overrated player, which is ridiculous, this dude's the most underrated player. Like, he is so good. He just produces. He gets his points, his rebounds. He doesn't take bad shots. He just goes about his business, and he is honestly the perfect second option that can go and be a first option. He can fit in. He can be a third option on some nights. It doesn't change, and he is fantastic.
What do you think, Lou? What have you seen from him so far?
I agree. He steadies this team, right? Like anytime that it feels like it's off the rails or they're playing too fast or they're playing out of control, he's the one constant that can kind of level everything out, especially with his post play. It doesn't matter, like Chandler just mentioned, it doesn't matter whether it's Cat or whether it's a smaller guard on him. He's going to take advantage when he's going to play with his back to the basket. And I like the skill level. Like the backboard shoot, the glass, we hadn't used the glass since Tim Duncan. PASCAL SIAKAM, that's what he does. He can put that ball up, shoot it off the glass, up and under, all of those things that you want from a guy his size to put pressure on you 10 to 15 feet away from the rim. And that's what you need, especially in pivotal moments in a game. When teams are going on runs, you need a guy to be able to settle everybody down and put fires out. And SIAKAM has done that for them all year. And the playoffs, he's even done it at a higher clip and at a higher level.
Yeah, they're so potent offensively, where they can hurt you in so many different ways. They have a pick and pop 5 in Turner. They surround Haliburton with shooters. Guys dive into the rim. Then when it gets slowed down, you have the luxury of going to SIAKAM in the mid post. But it all starts with Tyrese Haliburton. In this game, I feel like we didn't talk about it enough. He had 15 assists, 0 turnovers. The Knicks had 17 assists, 17 turnovers.
We're gonna get to that.
He was so good and just makes the right pass, and he leaves his feet all the time, and like I don't know how he doesn't turn the ball over because his usage rate is through the roof. He makes insane passes, and he's such a security blanket for this team and for this offense. He's got to be Rick Carlisle's dream to be running this offense.
I would think so. I think Rick Carlisle's pretty stoked today. Yeah, let's do the Knicks situation here because 17 turnovers, bad shots, bad fouls, bad defense. It was one of those nights, Lou, if you had to pick apart the worst part of what they did last night, what would you look at?
It'd probably be shot selection for me and the turnovers. Like, you know, in such a pivotal game that they really needed going back home, it felt like they were just out of sorts. Felt like they kind of deviated away from their game plan, and they just went out and just tried to outscore, outplay Indiana without any sense of collectiveness. You know,
like they weren't a unit.
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't look like they were on the same page. It looked like it was a little hero ball going on, and every guy wanted to try to make the play. And sometimes that's a bad thing. Everybody wanted to make the play, and I think that's what amounted to 17 turnovers. And mind you, Indiana was running out and scoring on those turnovers. You know, that's a double whammy. If you're going to turn the ball over, throw it out of bounds, or we can set our defense at least and have an opportunity to get the ball back. They weren't doing that. They were turning it over, and Indiana was running out on them. So I think those were the two things that stood out to me, like the shot selection, a lot of hero basketball, a lot of tough contested shots that they were taking, and playing in a lot of traffic that led to a lot of turnovers, and that's what made this a disaster for them. Like, the score doesn't tell the whole story. It looks cleaner than what it was, but Indiana was in control of this game the entire time. They were
every quarter.
Yeah, they were 8 to 10 points better than New York this entire game.
Yep.
Yeah, the turnovers were a major problem, and again, the Pacers had 20 points off turnovers and 22 fast break turnovers. So when you turn fast break points, when you turn the ball over that much and you give a team like this that's already so good offensively, easy buckets and transition, what was that?
It's called a cup, Chandler.
Yeah, make it do it again.
Wow, I thought you just...
and we'll lose Chandler for another 5 minutes.
It was odd, I'm not going to lie.
What was the question?
Nobody knows.
The turnovers were bad. And the fouls, Cat is too good and too important to be having these silly fouls.
It's so hot and cold. It's so
crazy. There was a foul at the end of the game where he literally grabbed the dude's arm and then let go and then looked at the ref like the ref was crazy for calling the foul. And it's like, buddy, you just grabbed Turner's arm. You can't do that and take yourself out of the game and off the floor for a team in such a pivotal game.
He gets so fast.
To me, it was the turnovers and it was just the dumb fouls.
It's been the story sort of Cat. When we're not touting his fourth quarter in the last game, we're back to the stupid foul situation. Jalen Brunson also, I've noticed people starting to question some things about Jalen Brunson as far as, when he's not in the game, the Knicks seem to, it just is a different style of basketball. Whether it's better or not is up for discussion. But his performance has been a little Chandler, in the last couple of games, and I'm wondering if it's changed your mind as far as he being a number one.
And being a superstar?
Not superstar.
No, I think, listen, the guy still had 31 last night, 9 of 19, 11 from 12 from the free throw line. He's still going to find a way to get his points and his stats just because he's so creative and he's crafty. And I will say, Aaron Nesmith has done such an incredible job defending him, fighting over screens, being physical. They tried Shepard early last night, and he came out in 2 minutes because they had to get Nesmith on him. And you can tell just the production of when Nesmith is not on him with Jalen Brunson is much easier. It's much more efficient. Then you put that guy on him, and he's physical. I'm telling you, the way he scraps it over screens is going to be huge in their next series, by the way, if he's guarding SGA.
Sure.
But this is, I think, their defense against him, and I think, talking about playing off the ball a little bit more, they can do that because they've also, I think their best plus-minus as a team is when Deuce McBride's on the floor, so they can have him set him up. And I will give Tibbs a little bit of credit. He's making some adjustments. He went to right. He went to Precious Achiuwa last night early. He's trying things. But again, I think the better team is winning this series, and I think Jalen Brunson's just he's doing too much. They almost need a second handler with Jalen Brunson out there to allow him to relieve some pressure and to get off the ball.
You got to give Carlisle credit as well, because I think Jalen Brunson is still a #1 option on a title team. He's still the #1 option on this team. But Indiana has adjusted to his style of play. They've made it difficult for him, and in turn, by making it difficult for him, by putting different matchups on him, taken him out of his comfort. They've taken a lot of his comforts away. And so now it looks like he's just over dribbling.
Correct.
No, that's what he's just been able to get to his spots so easy. Now he's fighting to get to those spots. By the time he's getting there, it's 15, 16 seconds going off of the shot clock. Now it looks like he's pounding the basketball. Give Indiana credit for making it difficult for him. He's been the #1 clutch guy, but they say, look, if you're going to get to these spots, you're going to beat us. We're going to make it difficult for you to do it. And if you are going to get to those spots, it's going to be in short clock situations where you're going to have to throw grenades out to these other guys and make it look crazy, or you're going to have to force up shots. You got to give Indiana a lot of credit for the adjustments that they've made on the defensive end, how they've made Jalen Brunson play in traffic. They've made the game difficult for him. And in turn, it looks like he's out there forcing a little bit, and he's not sharing the basketball at the level that we're used to. But I think that's because of the matchups that Indiana have and the way that they've been playing.
Also, don't forget, Carlisle had Brunson in Dallas, too.
Yep.
So he knows his game just about as good as anybody in the league. And obviously, there's film. There's a bunch of stuff that you can watch on him. But he knows what to take away. He knows what to take away. He knows what he doesn't like. He knows what bothers him. So that is also a big advantage that no one's really talked about so far, is kind of that relationship going forward and how comfortable Carlisle is coaching against Jalen Brunson.
So New York and Minnesota both down 3-1. Lou, you first. Who's got a better shot at coming back from that?
Neither.
Dang, really? We're not going to give one a
Neither,
shot?
yeah, because it's a tale of the tape. Watch the tape. Like, these have been dominant performances. Like, this is not one of those series that you're looking at and you're saying, wow, like, I can see if they adjust one or two things, they can get back in this series. No, they've been outplayed. I can almost make a case for all 4 times. You know, the one game that Indiana lost, they dropped a 20-point lead, couldn't score the basketball. That's been one of their main caveats this year, is being able to outscore teams. When they got stagnant in that fourth quarter, you needed a cat to have a 20-point quarter to go out and give you an opportunity to win that game. The Knicks have been outplayed this entire series. And on the other side, obviously Oklahoma has been playing a lot better basketball than Minnesota. They stick to their game plan. They've been a consistent team all year, and it showed in the postseason.
Wow.
Both teams have separated themselves from their opponents at this point.
Yeah, I think both are done, but I think OKC is done tonight. I think they're finishing off at home. I think the Knicks, that atmosphere, I think the Knicks possibly get one more, but again, the Pacers, they deserve to win this series. They've been better defensively, offensively, they've been more efficient. So most likely to come back, I'd have to say the Knicks, because I do think Oklahoma City is going to end it tonight, but I think it's a wrap for both.
Well, we're going to have a really long break, aren't we?
We sure are.
We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, you buying that with a lot of MJ and a lot of LeBron. Magic to some ears.
Here we go again.
Run it up, run it back.
You buying that? All right, I promised you some MJ and LeBron. We'll kick things off with former NFL quarterback Brady Quinn, who said he's got a theory, okay, we love a theory, that Michael Jordan joined NBC to beat LeBron to sports media. Chandler, are you buying that?
I really don't think Michael Jordan, with his billions of dollars and his great life and his golf course and cigars and tequila, is sitting there.
Can I stop you?
Worried about LeBron.
Both are billionaires.
That's true. They both are. They're doing quite well.
I don't think he's doing media now. I don't think he's that petty to do media next season.
Stop.
To beat LeBron James to it.
I really need this to stop. Like, if you think Michael Jordan's showing up for these, like, the meetings before the show, and he's going to be texting back and forth all week with ideas, just stop.
I'll take it a step further. Can the football guys let us have our arguments, please?
Oh, I see what you're doing. Well, I think Brady Quinn has to do like a daily show.
I'm just sparking it back up.
Well, it's
because some bad takes.
I don't think Jordan's worried.
Some bad takes, man.
I really don't.
Also, yeah, I never got the feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, I never got the feeling that MJ was worried about LeBron. It always felt like LeBron was competing with MJ and the ghost of. To me, I don't know why. I don't know what MJ's proving.
Like you said, we don't know how much he's going to actually do.
We know exactly how much he's going to do. It's going to be two things.
I think it's cool he's doing it, but again, I think if he's doing it, it's because he's bored and he wants to do it. It's not because he's.
Can you imagine MJ on one of our threads, like, guys, what do you think? Tyrese Haliburton, a superstar? No, that's not happening. He's not doing any of these things.
And because of that, to your point, Michelle, everybody is chasing the ghost of Jordan.
Of course.
Right? But at some point, we got to let the ghost be the ghost. Like, we talk about superstar status. Michael Jordan is always going to be Michael Jordan. We got to stop making him the bar for every single guy that starts.
He kind of is.
Getting there. He is, and it's deserved, but it's like at this point, allow nostalgia to be nostalgia. Like, we hadn't seen Michael Jordan play a game in close to 25 years.
Don't remind me.
You know, almost 25 years. And if some of the quotes that I've seen coming from him are true and authentic, like I saw one where it said that he was doing this to kind of put to bed a lot of these narratives and conversations. I don't know that to be an authentic quote from Michael Jordan, but if it's true, I would appreciate that. Because at some point, we got to move on. We got to let the game push forward. And we can never do that if everything is going to always revert back to the great Michael Jordan. As great as he is, as big as his impact is, as tremendous as his influence is, we got to push forward at some point.
I will say it would be awesome. Like if he did, like I want to hear his take on.
Oh, you think he's good? Yeah, if he gives some hot takes.
I would love to hear what he has to say about the current players as him being who he is and what he's done. I would love it if it actually was going to happen.
It will be the most viral sports media moment.
I don't think he's just doing it to beat LeBron James. I really don't. I think everyone now has this platform and can do a show or a podcast or whatever, but I don't think he's doing it to compete with LeBron James. I really don't.
Well, Brady Quinn, we do not agree with your theory, so that one's
because if that was the case, Michael Jordan doesn't need NBC to get any message out.
Ever.
He doesn't need NBC. He doesn't need any network to get any message out that he wants. This is the same person that sent out a fax and just said, "I'm back." Everybody got the word.
A fax.
Everybody got the news.
He can literally walk outside.
He can sit on his porch and say what he want to say, and it would be just as impactful as him sitting on NBC. I don't think this is in competition for anybody at this point for Michael Jordan.
Also, in fairness, LeBron does have a bit of a little media empire going already, so he's kind of in
to that point, LeBron hasn't had to sit on anybody's show to get his points across, things that he wants to discuss. He does his own.
He does his own.
They don't need to. Yeah, neither one of these guys have to compete with one another at this juncture in their careers, especially sports media.
They're both superstars, guys.
They are.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Quintessential. All right, so then let's get to LeBron's future, because Rich Paul was asked about that, said he has no idea, that he's focused on the draft right now. There was, of course, the report yesterday, Shams saying that it looks like LeBron probably will opt in on that player option of like $53 million or whatever the heck it is for next year. But Lou, I'll start with you. Are you buying that Rich Paul has no idea?
Yeah, I'm buying that.
Stop. What?
I'm buying 100%.
What are you talking about?
Because you have a 41-year-old client that he doesn't need an agent to. Rich Paul doesn't have to know.
But you know he knows.
He knows.
If LeBron doesn't, if obviously, is LeBron coming back next year?
Yes.
All right. So what else does Rich Paul need to know besides that?
So then why say you don't know?
Because if he doesn't know, because again, he just told you, I'm focused on the draft. I got young clients that actually needs me day to day. LeBron James doesn't need Rich Paul to deal with his day to day at this point in his career. Again, we're talking about a billion.
Can't multitask your thoughts?
No, but we're talking about a billionaire who's accompanying himself. He doesn't have to. What contracts does LeBron James have to negotiate?
Oh, he has till June 29th to be like, yep, I'll take the money. Boom.
That's what I'm saying. What contract does he need negotiated?
It's done.
He doesn't need anything.
Unless he wants to do a little breakdown where they can bring in some more people.
Yeah, like he doesn't need Rich Paul for anything that's going to move forward to LeBron. At this point, LeBron James has a price that's set. Either you can meet it or you can't, and that's when we get on the phone. Other than that, yes, I got young clients at Clutch that could use me from day to day. LeBron James, he doesn't need Rich Paul to do this for him at this point in his career from day to day.
I agree that he doesn't need him, and
we agree on that.
He's as one of his best friends and his agent. You know damn well he knows exactly.
But this ain't even like this. Not even a sexy conversation whether LeBron is going to play or not next year.
Because we all know he is.
That's what I'm saying. So what's the big deal about him saying, well, I don't know. I don't care. Like
I don't care would have been a lot better answer than I don't know, in fairness.
Why can't his answer just be his answer?
If the question is, are you buying that Rich Paul has no idea?
Why can't his answer be his answer?
Because it's a lie.
If the question is, are you buying that Rich Paul has no idea, then
that is the question.
No, I'm not buying that.
Okay. So by the
way, I know he doesn't need him, but he's paid to know. He's paid to know that. Like, that's his agent.
Also his best friend.
It's going to be 2 against 1 in this argument because we are talking about somebody who doesn't need his best friend agent to be his agent at this point in his career. What is there to negotiate for LeBron James?
But that was not the question.
The question was, do you know if he's going to play or not next year? I have no idea. I don't care if he plays.
That's the problem.
He doesn't. Again.
I think he knows. I think he knows whether he's playing. I think he knows whether he's going to opt out, opt in, and if it's the Lakers or if not. I think he knows everything.
Are we going to maneuver
whether he should or not, or whether he needs him or not? I think he knows everything.
He does not need him. I think we all agree on that. Does he take like a legit percentage, Rich Paul, at this point?
Is he taking 4%?
Like, he's taking like 1%.
He's taking, he's got to be a fraction.
There's got to be a deal, right?
I didn't pay 4%. You think LeBron's paying his best friend 4%?
Of course you didn't. You're the cheapest. I swear to God. Okay, let's move on. Michael Jordan. Some more Michael Jordan.
You don't think Rich Paul has any idea?
Michael Jordan again?
Yeah, but it's
it's a
not
whole
him.
segment.
He didn't do it.
Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
It's his agent. No, it's LeBron. It's LeBron. It's Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk. This one's. I'll be curious what you think about it. He does not rank LeBron as a top 2 player of all time. He said that if Jordan had had the opportunity to cherry pick his teams that he wanted to be on and 2 other superstars, that he probably would have had 15 titles. Chandler, this one has spice to it if you want to get into it, because it's a little bit crazy.
I think he's wrong. I think he's jealous. I think he is out of his mind. I think LeBron James is either the best or second best player of all time. And again, that's a whole other argument. Like, so that seems a little bitter. That seems a little.
I'm proud of you, Chandler.
Jealous. That is.
Luke, guess what?
Silly. And also, it's just it's a hypothetical get. It's ridiculous.
No, he's right.
I couldn't disagree with this.
You know how I feel about LeBron? He's definitely number 2. It's 100% number 2.
What I mean, so the fact that he's saying he's not a top 2
Correct.
player,
it's a little
hate
bit
and weird and
crazy
jealous.
talk out loud.
We can go on and on about this, man, but listen, again, we gotta let nostalgia be nostalgia. We gotta let the game push forward. It was a different age. It was a different time that these things were going on. Listen, Michael Jordan never had to go leave and be that because the super teams came to him. Scottie Pippen was drafted to the Chicago Bulls. Dennis Rodman came over to the Chicago Bulls. Luke Longley, Tony Kukoc, all of these guys, those guys were international superstars in their own rights. Tony Kukoc was.
Sure.
In his own right when he came over. These guys were like household names. And again, at that time, who didn't want to play with Michael Jordan? So a lot of the talented guys that could have stood on their own 2 feet and been really good players in the NBA, they came and linked up with the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan in Chicago. Now, if I'm LeBron James and I live in Cleveland and I got an opportunity to do something special with one of my homeboys and he's in Miami, we're going to have a conversation and say, well, you know what? If we're going to spend a lot of time somewhere, let's do it down in South Beach.
Not awful.
Yeah, not an awful view to have.
By the way, I just came up with a theory. This puts Brady Quinn's theory to... What if Michael Jordan told David Falk to say that out loud?
he's the Raven.
The fire.
start his media.
Yes. So that way he's coming in hot.
It.
Okay, all right, something's there. All right, Lou, Chris Childs said that Michael Jordan was one of the dirtiest players, saying he would cheap shot you. Are you buying that?
Yeah, I'm buying that.
When you think of Chris Childs, what do you think of?
Punching Kobe. That's what I think. But absolutely, you have to. When everybody's taking cheap shots on you, at some point, you got to fight back and you got to tell guys, listen, the bullies get bullied. I'm not going for this anymore.
Fair.
And at some point, Michael Jordan had to start. You got to fight fire with fire. So I don't care about Michael Jordan being one of the dirtiest players. I wouldn't expect anything different.
Yeah, if I had to play against Bill Laimbeer body slamming me and suplexing me to the floor every time, I would be dirty too. So I definitely am buying this, and I think he should be and has every right to be.
It's a lot of MJ today. Kind of love that for us. All right, this one's not MJ. It's the next best thing. Austin Reaves, his agent sent a message, because he's always a part of all these trade rumors, right? Like, this has been going on for quite some time. So the message from the agent was, next year's going to be a show. You have no idea what's coming. Keep putting him in trade rumors for a second string center. That's a
he
feisty.
Sent this message to
the
who?
Agent. Yeah, that's a good question.
Who's the agent? Who's his agent?
I don't know who the agent
but
is.
Who did he text that to? Like the GM?
Somehow we know.
He must have texted the Shams. How we got it?
Yeah, but it doesn't say Shams. Oh, Aaron Riley's the agent. To whom he sent it, not sure.
Whoever he sent it to, that ain't your friend, bro.
That is a feisty message, is it not?
Well, and then you hear Shams yesterday saying how this is going to be the craziest free agency, ever.
He did say that.
I think we do need to buckle up for this summer. I think there's going to be a lot of moves. I think there's a lot of big names.
Oh, it's even worse. It was a social media post. So it's just a blanket statement to the world.
Listen, I think, and also when you're an
social media post.
As a player, like you kind of get numb and used to being in these rooms.
I know, but do you want your agent doing that?
No.
No,
because he's actually playing a dangerous game, because if it isn't the season that you would expect it to be, that's gonna that's going to mess with negotiations, bro.
Yeah, I don't think. Look, I get it. Austin Reaves, I'm assuming, would love to just stay in LA. Like, let's just let this be a thing. But I don't know that your agent. I don't know. It's like a family member putting stuff out there. I don't love that.
And I think they need to find a way to keep Austin Reaves too. We just talked about how Jalen Brunson has kind of gone downhill a bit in this series because of the usage rate and not getting off the ball. I don't want that to happen to Luka either. And he's got a perfect running mate right now with Austin Reaves to kind of offset that load offensively. So I think they should find a way. They desperately need a center. Luka desperately wants a lob threat for them to kind of complete that roster. I think the Mark Williams thing was a good fit. Someone like that, a Nick Claxton, someone like that. But I would try and do that without giving up Austin Reaves.
They need a center, and Austin Reaves has value. I get all of this. I'm sure it doesn't feel great, though. Let's stick with Luka. Jason Gallagher, producer of the podcast Mind the Game, and also happens to be a huge Dallas fan, said that he's heard that Luka's already in the mindset of changing a lot about himself. I mean, we've seen some of the images coming out from overseas. He looks slimmer. Are you buying, Lou, that we're going to see the best version of Luka next season?
Yeah, I think year by year, every player should strive to be better than the season that they had before. You know, if I'm Luka, though, I don't get caught up in what's being said. You're still one of the top players in the league. We just had a debate, and you were in the conversation of a superstar. I would love to see you get better and better and better, but as far as changing yourself and worrying about the weight and what you decide to do on your off time and off the court, if you can perform at a high level, I don't care what you do. You're a grown man. Grown men should be able to do whatever it is that their heart sees fit for them and that they desire. So I don't really care about all of the narratives and trying to prove people wrong, this and that, but I do love to see our best players in the world come back better and better every year, whatever that looks like for them.
He got hella fat shame, though. I mean, that is motivation.
And I do think when something happens like that to any player, especially Luka, it's humbling in a way, and it is shocking, and it kind of puts things in perspective how quickly things can change in the NBA and how much of a business it is. So I do think he maybe did some soul searching. I do think that he took whatever was true, not true about his off-the-court habits, his diet, whatever it was. I think he definitely is going to take that, and you're going to see the best version of him. And I've already said this before, he is my MVP pick for next year because he is going to be a man on a mission next year. And as long as they put the right piece around him, they get him that lob threat, he's going to dominate next year. I
think this comes from losing. Not being in this conversation. One of the biggest highs that you can get is getting as far as you can in the playoffs, and that is a high. And you want to get to the pinnacle. He's been to the finals. Now I want to get back to the pinnacle. I want to get back to that place. I want all attention on me and my team at this time of year. So whether he loses 10 pounds or not, I think he's more driven by sitting and watching the playoffs than what he's eating.
Fair enough. No, I think there's a lot of motivation there to be gained. All right, when we come back, we're going to preview tonight's game, and if this is it from Minnesota.
Keep watching, Joey Juice.
Running back.
Could be over. Could be it. Could be curtains for the Timberwolves. So let's just get started here with some stuff that's being said out there. Jay Williams said that we obviously all did this, that the coronation of Anthony Edwards has been maybe slightly a little bit premature, and that there's a sizable gap between SGA and Ant. Do you agree?
I do. I think SGA has kind of solidified himself as the best guard in the NBA. I think he's kind of made that jump and separated himself. And a lot of talk of Anthony Edwards being the face and wanting to be the face, and us wanting to be the face, and him not wanting to be the face.
All true.
I think he's kind of put that to shame. He has dominated this series. What a luxury you can have for your starting point guard, who's obviously such a great scorer, to get 30-plus points on 50% shooting every single night. He can slow the game down whenever and get to the free throw line. He's done exactly what he's supposed to do against a guy that he's going to get compared to and he's going to be competing against for the next couple of years. So forever. I do think there is a big gap in between these two, and SGA has kind of separated himself from the pack. Yeah, there is a big gap. But it doesn't stop at Anthony Edwards. So I don't want to make this about Anthony Edwards. SGA has separated himself from all of these guys that are in his class, not just Anthony Edwards. And again, that's why I hate narratives. Anthony Edwards said, I don't want to be the face of your league. I want that to be something that's earned with accolades, with the way I play. I know that I'm a young guy. I know there is room for error for me to still grow and learn. I don't want this crown that you're trying to put on my head. Instead, what do? We forced the crown on his head. Now we're trying to knock it off of his head because he's not playing. Yeah, because he's not playing to the level that we've come to expect from him. When he himself said,
I still got work to do for that type of title, for that type of responsibility. I still have a ton of work to do. And instead of us respecting that and kind of allowing him to go through the rigors, the trials and tribulations of being such a young player in our league still, that's still going to go through growing pains. We didn't expect him to be perfect at this point. And now that he's not being perfect, we're trying to find a way to knock this crown off of his head. I don't like the tone in this conversation, but I do agree in the fact that SGA has separated himself from Ant as well as a lot of these young guys that are in that class, not just Ant Edwards.
And it's a fair point. I think we all expected OKC and Shea to be here, right? I don't think after that trade we expected the Minnesota Timberwolves to be here. Right. So the fact that he has willed his team here, has had such a great year, and has had that charisma and that charm that he still continues to do every single night, he doesn't want to be the face, like he said, and he's made that clear. But when you have two great guards like this that are 23 years old and 26 years old, you're always going to compare the two in the series, just like we're comparing Brunson and Haliburton. So although he might not want it, we're still going to do it. And SGA has 1,000% kind of put all those talks to best of who is the best guard, who should be the face of the franchise. It's SGA.
Obviously, and until Anthony Edwards gets married, we can't take him seriously as the face of the league. Anyways, everybody knows the rules, right, Kendrick? Dumbest thing said this week. Okay, Julius Randle.
Retweet.
What? Oh, retweet. Thanks, buddy. Julius Randle, if you go by patterns and trends, I'm about to say something that's going to sound crazy, but it could be an optimism moment. He had 5 points on 1 of 7 shooting in Game 4. Okay, that was not great. But Games 1 and 3 were great. And today's Game 5.
So the odd.
So Chandler, I mean, what do we think's going to happen tonight?
Yeah. I mean, listen, maybe he goes. They're going to need him to go off. They're going to have that early start that he had in those games that they won, or the game that he won where he went off and had like 4 threes in the first quarter. He's got to separate himself. He's got to be efficient. He's got to be aggressive. Again, no one expected this team to be here. You got to go down swinging tonight, and our best 2 players offensively are Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. You live and you die tonight with them being the head of the snake, taking every shot, being aggressive, get downhill. Again, take a page at SGA's book, get to the free throw line, do what they do, be physical, but it's all or nothing tonight. So Julius Randle has got to be great. He can't have one of these other inconsistent
can't spectate it,
2 for 9 games, and then you go into, then you don't remember the great season he had, the great series he had after you lay another egg tonight. So he's got to be good tonight for them to even have a chance to win.
And Julius Randle has to be responsible for Julius Randle. Like, we just seen the highlight package. A lot of those highlights are he's 25 feet from the rim shooting the basketball. Like, he has to be more aggressive. He has to put himself in a position just to be more efficient. Listen, if your jump shot is not going, nobody is stronger than you, nobody's bigger than you, nobody's quicker than you at that position to do the things that you can do 20 feet within from the basket. Catch the ball closer to the rim. Give yourself an opportunity in the mid-range. I sound like a broken record, but again, a lot of our old school values still have a ton of value, especially in a postseason when a team is affording you to shoot deep threes. So if you're going to live and die by these deep shots, I know OKC is willing to live with that. But if you start putting pressure on them every single time down the court, they're going to have to make adjustments, and that's when lanes are going to start to open up for you. So, you know, Ju, he has to be responsible for Ju. Don't settle for these long 3-pointers. Put pressure on that rim first, early. Try to get to the free throw line, and then that'll open up everything else that you're trying to do in your game. That'll expand the court for you 25 feet and beyond, but start close to the basket.
That's cool in a China shop thing.
Start close to the basket.
We want to see it like that. All right, Lou. Do the Thunder end it tonight?
Absolutely.
That's it?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks so?
They've been the best team all year. Like, I'm not going to try to outsmart myself and try to say something clever.
You don't think there's a shot Timberwolves?
Yeah, I'm not going to be that. I'm not trying to be that clever. They've been the best team all year. They were 16 games better than anybody else in the Western Conference. They're up 3-1 right now. I don't see this thing going past midnight tonight.
And the more I watch them, like watching the Celtics, you can kind of get that feel like they are so good, but man, if they miss shots, they are so beatable, and they settle and they take a lot of threes. This team could settle, take a lot of threes, and still beat you defensively and still hold you under 90 points. And so they can, when you can do both things and everything on the basketball court so efficiently, they have a chance to win every single night. So, yeah, I think it's over. I think it's a wrap. Even if they have an off shooting night, their defense is so good against this team that I think it's over.
All right, so that is that. How about a little same game parlay?
Why not?
Got put together. Okay, this good odds, by the way, Lou. We do love this. All right, Ant got to get 30 or more. Chet has to get 20 or more, and SGA has a 46.5 points, rebounds, assist situation, plus 1131. Are we taking it?
I think Chet is a little shaky for me.
That's a little weird for me. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think the Chet one is a little shaky for me. I think he lands right up under
17.
a 20. Yeah, like an 18 or 19 or something that'll make all the bettors go crazy. That's the only thing that I don't see happening in this one. I think Ant Edwards go out tonight, guns blazing. He's going to give them an opportunity by trying to have a big night tonight. Everything else looks safe on there. Those two things look safe for me besides Chet.
Yeah, and when you have a guard like SGA that can score so much, and you have Jalen Williams, and you have such a deep team, it's hard for another guy to get 20-plus points, and he's done that in the series. And we haven't talked about Chet enough. He's been unbelievable on both sides of the floor. His finishing, although he's given up a lot of beef and size with Julius Randle, he's using his length, he's altering shots, so he has been fantastic. But obviously at the plus 270 odds there, that's the underdog there. So I think that might be the one that holds you up. I agree, Anthony Edwards. He's got to have over 30.
I mean, he has
and SGA on the flip side is going to continue to do what he does every single night. So that would be the one hiccup.
There is an excitement to tonight because this is it, right? Like I expect the Timberwolves to go absolutely nuts.
And that place is just going to be absolutely rocking.
It's going to be ridiculous. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, story time with Lou. We'll wrap things up.
Is it?
Yeah.
Run it up.
Welcome back, Lou. So the long-running conversation of can a football player transition over to NBA or vice versa? You did a little research yesterday, kinda.
Did a little on-site research yesterday. Had an opportunity to hoop with DK Metcalf.
All right.
We had a good run. Very talented. And I told him to his face. I said, "You're one of the few that'll get my vote that could possibly make the transition." But it was fun just spending some time with him, being around him. Cool dude.
What about him? I mean, obviously he's athletic as get out. But what is it?
Give me a player comp.
Yeah.
I don't give you a player comp.
Is he like a Zion? Like he's just like a rugged?
No,
big...
can play, can shoot the basketball,
really?
put it on the floor, jump out the gym, like physical. He was challenging things at the rim. I hope I'm not saying too much, but yeah, he can play.
I think you are.
He can play.
See, because I think obviously the physicality, he's a freak, right?
Yeah.
The talent with the basketball is why I think it would be harder for them to come over. The physicality of football is why it would be harder for us to go over. But there's more athletic dudes that I think could transition to football than talented basketball players that could come over from basketball.
No, but he
has both apparently.
Yeah, he was a hooper. He's he's one of those
running down Skittles.
Yeah, does he eat candy the whole time?
He's an athlete. I think whatever he decided that he wanted to put his mind to, in physical stature, he probably could do a lot of things. He probably could hit a 100-mile-per-hour baseball. He probably can dunk a basketball, shoot a basketball, and obviously he catches footballs at a very high clip. So, but shout out to my brother Jay Valentine. He puts together great runs on Tuesdays and Thursdays out in the Valley, and some very talented people come hoop.
I feel like, does this get very, very competitive? Like, does it get a little, okay.
From the beginning.
Yeah,
From the beginning. This is the most trash-talking gym I've been in a very, very long time. A lot of competitive energy in the building. I love it.
I mean, I feel like I want to spy on this, but not have anybody know we're spying.
Anybody know what DK stands for?
Darren Kilgard.
Zacharias.
What made you
I was just always wondering, and now I was like, you know what, I'm just going to dive into that.
Do you know what OG stands for?
Yeah,
original
gangster.
No, an Ananobi. What's wrong with you guys?
No. You know what?
I just learned that Obi Toppin is Obadiah.
You know the Thompson twins' middle name?
What?
You know what OG stands for the kids? On God.
Okay. You know what?
Thompson's middle name is excellence, but it's spelt like
letters.
Yes.
We'll do anything to eat up some time.
Run it up, then run it back, yeah.